So hello everyone, and back with Manuscripts. Manuscripts basically is an artist. Manuscripts is a videographer, video director, and a graphics designer plus an animator. So basically we are going to be continuing with our lecture. In the first lecture we looked at different stuff like resolution. We've looked at a lot of stuff. Let me give you the video from our first lecture was here. When you go to YouTube, then after you reaching YouTube, let me connect my internet first. My Wi-Fi was off, so now it is on here. You try it. So load YouTube. So after that, you look for gallery, films production. Then this is the video. CorelDraw, I've just uploaded it today in the morning. Yes, it is 10 hours ago. That is when I uploaded this video. This was our first lecture, whereby we looked at, let's go back and remind ourselves, points, lines. We looked at resolution for print. We looked at resolution for screen. We looked at the resolution for print. We looked at the primary colors for screen. The primary colors for print are here and what they mean. We looked at the vector, what it means, and the resolution, what it means. Now, we ended our video when we had the interface of our software. That is when we ended this first video. So we are making our second lecture here, beginner's guide, starting from scratch to professional. Then back here, we looked at the different stuff here. So now, what are we going to do next? We are going to be looking at the interface. So I'm going to be showing you how to use certain tools. Let's first get used to some of the tools that we are going to be using most, and you'll be learning others as we continue. We are going to be designing as we learn. So okay, we begin. Remember, I told you that this is basically professional work, professional teaching. You are learning something like at an institute, at a university. That is how we are learning this stuff. So if you consider this, take it on a professional basis and try it out. It is better you watch this tutorial as you try it out. And remember, it is free and it is up to you how much you can support us. You can support us through Coffee. When you go below those videos, there are links whereby you can support us by donating to us any amount you would wish. Like we have some about us, we have this goal we are aiming at, setting up a recording studio and buy cinematic cameras. As a recording artist and musician, I would love to support to set up my own studio for audio and video production, and so I'm calling out for your support. So that would help us record and present to you in the best efficient way and with the best quality. Then our memberships, we have this one that is $3 tier per month. Then there's the golden tier that is $5 per month. So if you wish to support us, please go through that stuff so that you can Like you can use your PayPal account, you can use your debit card, and you try to like buy anything from us. These videos are free, but you may decide like to buy besides that, because you buying is like you supporting us, you helping us grow, as we help you also get to know some stuff. You can visit our shop here where we have different offers like a video like that one. It is $3 plus. It is you to decide whether you give us 1,000, whether you give us, so basically that is it. So you have learned on how to pay or how to donate to us. You can go through Coffee and Patreon basically, but we consider these two. You can come here and decide to buy us a cup of coffee that is $5 if you find our tutorials helpful. Back to our point, we looked at Corel. Okay, make sure that for me I'm logged in. That is why you're seeing analytics and editing. I'm already logged in into my account or into our account. So basically that is why you're seeing that. Back. I'm going to be putting the description whereby you can get that software CorelDraw. You'll be seeing it within this lecture 1 or the continuing lectures. You'll be seeing that. Back here we go. We turn this off. After you having installed your CorelDraw, it will be looking like this. So we click it. We first switch off our Wi-Fi because we are using a free version that is not yet co-created or put into a serial number. So we click on it, it loads. So when it gets here, what I do is I click here, continue. Then I don't want this register now using the web browser. You can come here and say register, then continue. Let's see. So that pops up. So we switch on our Wi-Fi. We load it again. We load it again. So we have this. We first close it. Go to propeller. So it had even come back. So I may decide to come here, that register later, choose option if you are currently. So I happen to come here, I say continue. So I close the web, I go back. I'll do a lecture on how to do this. So let's use this, register later, then say continue. So our Corel is loading basically. So we are going to try to look at different tools and how they are used, and some of the terminologies that we are going to be using as we make our designs. So let it first load and we'll continue. So if our software is loaded, now we are seeing its interface on our screen. As you see here, Corel has formed an auto backup file in the hard drive. Would you like to open it? So go here. So we can refuse to open it from here. Then so we come here and form new. Remember I told you that before you start designing, you must make sure that you have set everything that you are to design with. Say the name will begin with new scripts 2, because this is our lecture 2. We looked at this to remind you a little bit. Here we left this constant, then we came and changed this. We looked at some customization, but we will make it as an A4. So, but we need it in the landscape. We looked at what landscape is. So if you are not well conversant with this, you can go back and watch lecture 1. So we have all these that we talked about, then we say okay. So to avoid getting confused, you have to make sure that you are here in Windows. If you click here in Windows, then you happen to go to workspace. So we are in default. So you make sure that we are all in what? In default. Because if you happen to be in light, that is the workspace. Workspace, like it is the display, the layout of the software. Like here, all of this, how this software is displaying. So we make sure that we are in the same workspace to avoid getting confused. Because I may talk of a certain shortcut, and for you, you have something else from what I have. So you make sure that we are in the same workspace that is basically default. Then we are going to look at this tool basically. It is having the pick tool, the freehand pick, then the free transform tool. We are going to be looking at the different ways on how to use these different tools. Then we come back here, we come here where we have the shape tool, we have the smooth tool, we have the smear, the stream, attract, repair, and this. So if we happen to have a shape here, like for rectangle shape, like this one, that is F6. This is a rectangle shape tool. So if we happen to click on it, then put it here, like this. Yes. So then we put it here. We can select the color. Remember, we call this the color palette. Okay. Then if this is our color palette, that is where we choose the colors from. Remember, for any design, we have the fill, that is like the body, the inside part, and most times it is the biggest part of a shape. So a fill, we can change its colors from here to here, where we have a fill, this pale. So if I happen to click here, this pops up. So we can change it from here. Remember, this is a color resolution for what? For print. Then this one is for screen. Then we shall be looking at these others. But what you should note most is this and this. For print, for screen. So here you can change colors. Are you seeing? So this is what we call a fill. But again, we shall be looking at the different ways. We can have this, then try to form out some gradients. Maybe give it another color like that. We shall be looking at that. Then say okay. I'm saying that. But for now, we don't need that. So this is the same as you pressing here. We give it another color. So basically that is our fill. That is our fill. Then we have something else that is called a stroke, but in this software we call it the hairline. We can increase its size from here. I see. You can select those, you can type in numbers. Maybe I want it to be 15. I've pressed in, put in my cursor point in it, then click in it, then type in what I want. Then after me typing it in, I press enter. So are you seeing the difference? Then to give my stroke color, I come here. Remember in Corel it is called the hairline. So I can change it, its color. Are you seeing? Then I can play with its what? I can play with its, remember I've told you in Corel it is called the hairline. Then in Illustrator and Photoshop basically it is the stroke. So if you hear someone talking of a stroke, it is the same thing. So we can also play with its size from here. Are you seeing? We can even remove it completely. So you see, none of it is around. So I can put it back from there or through here. So I can have my stroke. Then I can change its style. Maybe when I click here, I have the different stroke styles that if I choose this one, that is how it will appear. Overprint, no? That is how it will appear. We come here, because remember we're in centimeters. So if I happen to like change this one, so basically let me first increase it. Are you seeing? So because of the stroke or hairline I chose that was dotted, then let us select from its corners how I want its corners to look like. I can select from these. Maybe let me try something like that. Then change its corner. Come here, go to this last one. I want it at 15. I've put it at 15. Then I come and change its corners. Remember I selected this. Are you seeing these edges? So I get this zoom tool. The zoom tool is basically Z. If you press Z. So, and another thing you should remember is whenever you see a certain arrow that is pointing down on a certain tool, it means that tool is not alone. Like this one, it has the pan tool, it has the zoom tool. Let us try to use the pan tool. Are you seeing? Like I've left clicked, then hold it. Like I'm holding. After clicking, I hold, meaning I don't remove my finger. Then I use my right hand, this one, to like move it around. So I'm holding. As it is showing you here, to view a different part of the page, drag anywhere on the page. So basically, I click and hold on my left hand side, then I use the right to like move it around. So these ones we see up are rulers, are rulers basically. These where we get our guides. If we happen to be designing, these are guides. So we shall be looking at that. I've clicked Ctrl Z, then I removed that guide I had made. So this is Ctrl Z to undo something. Say I've made a certain design, maybe here, and I'm not interested with what I've made. I can, instead of deleting, I may go back and do undo fill, then undo create, so it is off instead of using delete. And if I click on if I come back here and say redo, so it comes back. Then if I want to delete it, I may right click in it, then select delete. So basically that is it. So we've looked at what a stroke is and what a fill is. Then we've made this shape. We've looked at the zoom tool. In the zoom tool where we have the zoom, then we have the pan, that is H. So let me say if I want to use the zoom tool, that is Z. So I can come and click, right click. That is like I'm zooming it in. That is out. Okay, I'm extending it where? Behind. So I'm right clicking. Then if I happen to left click, I move, make sure that I move my zoom tool in the middle or where I want to zoom. Then I left click. Once I left click, it is like becoming big. So then if I happen to like click here in space, click, hold, drag all of it, then let go. So it is like I'm extending it to come towards my screen. So which tools am I using? The tool this to zoom in on a portion of your work, click in the drawing window. Basically this is our drawing window, this one. So click in the drawing window to zoom in to the selected area of your work. Drag to define the area. So are you seeing? So we make sure that the drag we are making, it covers the area we want to zoom in. Then we let go. So we leave, like we don't hold it, we leave both hands. We get them off our keyboard. So basically this is our design. Then we zoom it back a little because we want to be observing the whole page. So we've looked at the zoom tool. We've looked at the zoom tool. We've looked at the zoom tool. We've looked at the rectangular tool. And remember, with this rectangle tool, what you should avoid is like, if I happen to delete away this, not this, we have no any shape on our drawing window. There is no any shape. If we happen to be in the rectangular shape, remember I've told you, when we have something that is we are having a certain shape that has an arrow down, just get to know that that arrow basically means that there are more shapes than the one you are seeing. We are having something like the 3-point rectangle. We shall be looking at what it does. So are you seeing? So we shall be looking on how to use it and when to use it. So we go back. What do we want? We want basically the rectangle tool. So we've gotten that rectangle tool, and if we happen to like, if we want to cover this, remember one thing, that you can't fill a shape with color without first closing it. We couldn't have filled this rectangle with this yellow color if it wasn't totally closed. So assume you are having a basket, maybe. Could you fill it with it having walls? With it having holes. So it means basically you can't fill anything in it. So this also applies to this. So try to relate your graphics to everyday life. So for you to fill something with a color, it has to be totally a closed shape. So we come here, we remove that. So right click and say delete. Then we've seen that I first selected the rectangular tool, maybe to make it more easy. Are you seeing that? Then I selected. the rectangle tool, I came towards the edge, then I drew a rectangular shape. After drawing it, I gave it a color. Maybe, let me give it a lighter blue. So if that is what I have. So if this is what I have, I can even try to like give it a stroke. I come here, it already has a stroke. Let us try to remove that stroke. Are you seeing? That is the black part. Let me first increase it so that you see it properly. So that is the stroke. We can decide to change the color of the stroke also by coming here, then you change it to maybe a yellow. Are you seeing? But then we can also remove it. We can remove it from here, or we come back here, and we can also remove it here by clicking there. Then we come here and press none. Then press OK. So we need no stroke on this one. Then we've seen. We go back here. Remember, we have the pick tool. Okay. Basically, for this one, it holds all of the rectangle. Then we can move it around. Are you seeing? So you should differentiate these. The cursor, when pointing in our free space, not in the drawing window, but in the free space, it is like a spear. So if we happen to come here and click in the shape, are you seeing after clicking into the shape, this arrow changes, showing 4 arrows. When it goes outside, it goes back to spear. When we come here, so it is like showing you, it can hold it, then we can drag. Remember, I'm using my left hand to click and hold. Like hold that shape, then I'm using the right hand to move around with my mouse. So I'm moving it around. So that is it. So now, back here. So if I happen to come towards any of the points, so remember we talked of a shape having points, lines. So these are lines. Those are what? Lines. So we talked of points, we talked of lines, and we talked of what? Curves. So we are going to be seeing the curves. So if we happen to come here, maybe get this, we try, see the curves. What do we mean if we talk of the curves? We go, I've gone to the shape tool. So, are you seeing? If I happen to go to the shape tool, then I come to the one of the edges. I've not like directly selected it. Are you seeing? So we've formed curves from points and lines. Now we are having curves. So if I happen to maybe click in one, basically, it is not giving me that. Let me try to go back here, where we have the freehand tool. I come and select maybe here, Ctrl Z. So I want us to try to use this freehand pick. It is almost working as the same as the what? Let me try to see here if we happen to click on it. Then another thing, if we are in the pick tool, then we happen to click in our shape, then we click in it the second time. Are you seeing that these arrows change? Basically, they mean rotation. So we go back. That wasn't our aim. Our aim was to try to use the different tools. So if I have got that, let us try to use this free transform. We select our shape, we select any point. So are you seeing the effects that are caused by that transform? So basically, that is not what we want. So we go back. So we go back here. We've looked at the pick tool, the free transform, then the freehand pick tool, then free transform, then we come here to the shape tool where we looked at it being used to form the curves in our shape. So are you seeing what I've done? I got the pick tool, then clicked in the shape. I went to the corner of that shape, then double clicked in it, picking it alone. Are you seeing that it is the only one highlighted? Then I moved it inside. Are you seeing? So I've customized my shape with one side forming a curve. Let's repeat it. Okay, so back to our pick tool, then click in free space. Let's try it again. What did I do? We go back, we've deleted it, we go back here. We get a shape that is rectangular, then we lay it on our page. There is that method where we give it a color, we switch off this stroke or hairline, so our shape is empty. Or we can fill it in another way. If at all we want this rectangular shape to cover all of this, we may just click here once to select that tool. Once we select it again, like Ctrl Z or redo, undo. So we come back here. We have that shape. So this is the shape we want. If we double click in it, so automatically it lays itself onto the whole page where we want it. So let's assume we had given it a lighter blue. Then we removed our stroke or hairline so that it looks like that. So we came here and selected the shape tool. We can use it to form curves towards the edges. So if we come here and drag like that, remember we've not clicked anything. We've not clicked any single point. We just drew. Let's get our picture. We just made a rectangular shape. Then we went and got our shape tool, that is F10. Then came on any of the edges, then just dragged. We never clicked, we just dragged. Clicked and did hold. Then we dragged. Are you seeing I'm making edges all along the shape? So that is what I found. If I happen to go here and undo edit, so it goes back to the other shape that we brought in. If I happen to get this shape tool, then click in the shape I want, then come to one of the corners, maybe double click in it. So are you seeing that this corner's got a blacker thing on its what? On its edge. So if I happen to now drag, so it is only that corner that is getting affected. So it is the same. If I want that thing to happen to this corner, it means basically I would first go select my pick tool, select in free space, select my shape, go back to my shape tool, then come here and double click here. So are you seeing the black shape that comes to the edge? Then I drag it again. So are you seeing? So I've like customized the side. So I'm having some shape like that. Even me after getting that shape, so we've seen the importance of the what? Of the shape tool. We go back here and just say undo, edit. So we go back to our shape. So the shape tool, remember, it isn't alone. Remember, I've told you that if you happen to see, let us try to see here our zoom tool. We say zoom tool is Z. So if we happen to come here and try to, no, it is not giving us what we want. So we bring it back. I'm like right clicking. Once I right click, it is like zooming it out. To zoom it in, I left click. I want us to be seeing the whole window. So we go back. So if we happen to click on the shape tool and we click this arrow pointing down, so we have some other shapes where we have the smooth what tool. We can use this one if at all we've made some crooked thing. Let us first use this smear twist. Let us first use a twist. Let me first get this from a twist. Drag along the object edge. So we drag along the edges. Let's assume we get this away. Let's get a pencil. Maybe we get the Bezier tool. Draw something. Maybe like that. So roughly, if I happen to go here, I'm like I want to smoothen it. Are you seeing the effect? So I'm like trying to smoothen this. So towards the edges, are you seeing my points? So I can increase the amount. Go back. Z is my zoom tool, then right click to zoom out. I want this basically. So I get my smoothen. Are you seeing? So I'm like smoothing the edges. So we've seen that. That is how it works basically. So we can increase the amount from here. We want it to smoothen 100%. So are you seeing the different effects? So if I try to leave the smoothing, then go to smear. Let us try to use smear. Are you seeing? It's like I may want to move these different points. So we shall be looking at the different ways on how to use this. They are not usually used, but with our Docker, it is like informing us to smear the outside of an object, click inside an object close to its edge, and drag outwards. So as this example is showing you, to smear the inside of a selected object, click outside. So if we want to smear inside, we click outside. Are you seeing? If we want to smear outside, then we click inside. Then we drag it. So basically, that is it. If we go to our what? Back to where we got the shape tool, we have the twist. Are you seeing? It is like adding the crookedness. So we can reduce the amount of this circle. Are you seeing how it is? So if I happen to get here, I don't want to increase it. I want to decrease it. Maybe I want it to be a 12. It is a 12 there. It is still too big. I reduce it to 6. So are you seeing? So are you seeing its different effects? So I'm trying to like twist. So the effect is more seen when this thing is big. Maybe let me make it 10. If I happen, are you seeing that I'm making some twists? So it depends basically on what design are you making. That is when you happen to use it. So then we come back here. You can decide to make it a little bit 30, too big for life. So, are you seeing the different twists I'm making? Make sure that I'm holding a certain point, then try to twist them out. So are you seeing what I've come up with? Then if I happen to click on it again, then I bring attract. What is it saying? Click inside or outside a selected object, close to its edge, and hold down to reshape the edge. For a more pronounced effect, drag while holding down the mouse. Okay. So are you seeing I'm like reshaping my. So if you find that this is too big, then you can. Are you seeing I'm reshaping it from. So now here. So if we've made a mistake, we undo. So are you seeing? So to avoid that, what do? We undo and go back here and try to reduce the diameter of our circle. Maybe we make it something like 15 so that its effect does not affect. Are you seeing? So I've reshaped that. So you continue using that. You may apply it in another design that is basically not this, then repair. Repair, they are basically saying click inside or outside a selected object. Okay, our object is already selected. So click inside or outside a selected object, close its edges, and hold down the mouse to reshape. So it is almost doing the same thing as the other one, but the other one was more of making it a straight line. So we would, if at all we are trying to reshape something, we would prefer using the other first one, will be better. Okay, so we go back. So then smudge. Smudge basically is like to smudge the inside of a selected area or object. Click the outside of the object and drag inwards. So let us try to smudge it. So we increase this, the diameter of this to 25 maybe. Then we try to smudge. Are you seeing? So we click inside and extend it outside. So that is the smudging. So we are like putting an effect on a shape so that we extend it in a circular way. Okay, then we go back here, we look at this roughen. Let us try to roughen everything. 20, let's make this 30, then so what are they saying? Roughen brush tool. We have to first make sure that our shape is to roughen a selected object or point to the area on the outline. You want to roughen and then drag the outline to distort it. What are they saying? It is like more than confusing. Roughen brush tool. To roughen a selected object, so our shape is not yet selected. Point to the area on the outline you want to roughen and then drag the outline to distort it. We have to first make sure that our shape is selected. This is our shape, so we want to roughen it. So then, are you seeing? We come towards the edges, then click on it. So are you seeing? So it is like disorganizing the outline that was straightened. Remember what was straightening everything? It was the, was it the smear? No, it wasn't the smear. So we should go back and try to see smoothing. So smoothing is like not correcting it, but trying to smoothen it to make the roughness become more smooth, not too rough. So are we okay? Then smear. Yes, it was smear that was trying to put these things back to the normal way. Okay, so basically we've looked at these tools, almost everything. So we have the knife tool, we have the crop tool, we have this. So let us try with these shapes. Basically, the rectangular shape, okay, the rectangular shape, then the pick tool. Can we come up with something that someone can buy? So we go back, we get our zoom tool and go back, select this and right click, then delete it away. Select here, right click and delete it away. So after having seen that, let us try something with the Bezier tool here. The Bezier tool plus this shape what? Shape tool. Okay, let us try to use the Bezier tool. Then you learn on how to use it. So we are going to come up with our first design, maybe a business card, whereby we are going to be using the rectangular shape. Then we come here, leave around the freehand tool, okay? Because if we are to use the freehand tool, let us try to use it. We want to create maybe a rectangle with a freehand tool, okay? So basically, a freehand tool helps you move from anywhere freely, like as if you're using a what? You're using a pen. I'm clicking Ctrl Z, Ctrl Shift Z, redoes something, then Ctrl Z undoes or undoes something. Okay, so we get the freehand tool. It is like we are using a pencil to make a certain design. Okay, we undo that. So we go back. So we've seen how we can use the freehand tool. You can use it to draw, to come up with certain designs, maybe that head, put in some eyes, then the so that is our what. And remember, whenever you are designing, I've selected them all. Then yes, I select the shape, then right click and delete. Select it, right click, delete. Select it, right click, delete. Remember, whenever you're designing anything, you make sure that it is closed, because once it is not fully closed, then colors cannot sit in it. So let us try to use the different shapes we were looking at here. Then we have this 2-point line. It means if I'm making a 2-point line, I have to make there like that. You click, don't leave it, click and drag. Okay, click and drag. So are you seeing that if I happen to make any mistake, it is like getting out of line. If I happen to click shift, shift helps me get guided to move in a straight line. So once I click anywhere I'm starting from, maybe with this 2-point line, I click there. Instead of having this organization where you see my line is like breaking up, so I hold shift. It helps me get to know. I've seen. Then I get to having a straight line. So I undo that by clicking Ctrl Z. So this is basically possible only if we are in the same workspace default settings. So I think we are in the workspace, that is default settings. So if you are not here, if you are somewhere in Light Classic, make sure that we are in the same workspace. So we've looked at this. Then let us basically look at the Bezier tool. So for the Bezier tool, you make the first point there. So you come to the point where you want to make your other point, maybe here. So what should you note? I'm clicking and dragging. Click, hold and drag when making the second point. Then if I drag towards the right hand, my right hand, then the curve is formed going towards the left. If I drag going towards the what? The left, then my shape curve bends towards the what? The right. If I try to go a little bit down while I'm going to the left side, I try to like a little to the down part because I want a curve there. Are you seeing? So if I don't remove this and I happen to make another point here, you see my curve, it goes off the page. So I Ctrl Z and make sure that I hold here, make sure in the same point where I made, you hold Shift, then double click. So that arrow pointing towards down goes off. So if I try to make here a point, I don't have the other thing going down. Then I happen to click here once again and then choose the color I want. So that is it basically. So that is how we can use the Bezier tool. We can use it to come up with different shapes basically. Okay? So we use the Bezier tool to come up with different shapes when designing. Basically, we can now get this rectangle tool, then make it here, then give it something like that, then right click on it and send it, order it to go to the back of the page, So are you seeing? So we are having something like that. So we go back, this is an A4. If we want to make a business card, okay, we go back. So basically, remember what I told you, Corel has templates, but you should first learn. Because if you happen to use a template, you won't understand. You won't get it. Like, you won't get to understand what is the basic of designing. Like, what are the measurements? Because you need to be well conversant with the different measurements, the different principles. So if we happen to go back to our Google, we are trying to look at the size, okay, size of a business card. So we are looking for the standard size of a business card. So basically, we may say in centimeters. So size of a business card. So are you seeing they are showing us the different sizes. Business card, we are having this where we have a 3.5, but we have to find out what are the units, because remember we should have the standard units. So here I'm not seeing it basically, but what, yes, we are having 55 millimeters. And remember, what is, because we are designing in centimeters. So how many, maybe converting centimeters, converting meters, converting millimeters, millimeters, centimeters. So meaning 1 millimeter, we go back here to our panel here, meaning 1 millimeter equals to 0.1 centimeter. Okay, so if we are having, basically, let us take the standard units. Let us take the standard units. You will look at that because I'm getting time caught up. I have to leave this place where I'm doing this live. So let's go back. Let's use measurements of 9 by 5. So if we happen to go back here, remember we are designing for print, say business card. So we are having that. Then we have to put this in centimeters. Then we make this 9 by 5. So it is going to be basically in landscape. So meaning that we want it in landscape, meaning that the width is going to be longer than the height. Then keep that resolution, keep CMYK because we are designing for print. Then say OK. So this is it. So with our Bezier tool, we come here, then get our Bezier tool, create something simple, then come here, maybe make a simple curve like that, then hold shift and double click in that point, then click here and go back, navigate it up and go back here. So it is already that. Then we put off our stroke. We go back to the pick tool, make sure we've selected our shape, then remove the hairline. None, we need none of it. Then we get this shape tool and put it behind like that. So are you seeing? When we make it here, and also we remove this stroke, we need none. Then right click on it and send it towards the what? Towards the back. Let's order it to the back of the page. So are you seeing something like that? Then I happen to put here my title with the text. I happen to put here my title. Let me make simple boxes. I happen to put here my title, maybe so and so. Remove this stroke, maybe so and so. Then put my name here, put my name there. Then remove off this title, this stroke. So let me say I'm a student at an institute. I put student here, then put my name. Then this side I put my email, my stuff. So we are going to be looking at that the next time we meet. So this is our lecture 2, and that is where we are going to be starting from. Remember, we are making these lectures for free, and it is, if you find that they are interesting and you are learning something out of them, then you should consider visiting us and rewarding us through our page. You go here, look for Gary Films Production, look for any of these latest lectures, like this one that is having lecture 1. So it is called the main after you see it. You go here, down and show me in the description. Then you can visit us by clicking here on coffee. It is basically having the short. After you click on coffee, you can choose this one to like donate anything to us, or so it is a short. Donate us $5 or even you try have it. You go for membership, then we have this instead of whereby you can join this one maybe for $3 a month, then or $5 a month, or you can reward us by helping us get to our website from here or visit our shop where we have different tutorials. You can even go through coffee whereby you save it here, then you can also donate to us or support us with just $5. You can decide how many cups of coffee you want to buy for us. We five, for context here, maybe 10. So I want to scale, so it is basically up to you. So that if you find this interesting and you want us to continue with making new tutorials, help you can learn graphics, so consider supporting us and help us grow as we help you grow. So thanks for watching. If I happen to, I'll be uploading another video that will be lecture 3. So then another thing, consider looking for CorelDraw in the description of these videos. I'm going to insert it somewhere down. So I'm going to be inserting CorelDraw somewhere down under these descriptions where we have our support. So you can go there, I'll be sharing the link, then you can download it freely and you can donate to us anything that you feel like if you find this interesting and if you want these lectures to continue for you to also learn and be able to design something and earn a living from designing. You design like a professional for free. It is just a matter of donating and helping us sustain, get that data here and there, make sure that we're online. That is it basically. So thanks for watching, thanks for being part of us, and thanks for being part of our community. Don't forget to subscribe and supporting us through coffee or through buy me a coffee or coffee. So I wish you well. This is the end of this lecture. So this is basically our channel. When you go to YouTube, you can click YouTube, then type in Gary Bezier Tool production. So once you type in that, then so you see what will pop up. So basically this is our stuff. Hello, here I'm like describing what Gary Films does, what we have new for you, and please, we have a lot of new stuff and we have a lot of dreams to see that they happen. So help us reach them. Let's also help you get better in your designs. Thank you. Consider subscribing and consider sharing our videos with your friends. Have a nice time. Have a lovely night.